It's time for the obligatory E3 2017 video. That's right. E3 is a little over a month away. And of course, this is a gaming channel. And on a gaming channel, we speculate. And what's most brilliant for speculation? E3. So, let's get into it. We've got all the usual players this year, haven't we? Or what's become the usual players. We'll have Bethesda doing their thing. Now, of course, the question is with Bethesda, what will they be bringing? Because they've given us Doom. They've given us Skyrim Remastered. They've given us, they've given us Fallout 4. They've brought the Fallout mobile game to Xbox. Like, anybody needed that, but hey ho. We've had Dishonored. We've got Elder Scrolls Online. They've done a lot, and they've done the new version of Quake, and there's been a lot coming out of Bethesda. But the question is, what can they do this year? Now, some people say, what about doing Fallout 4 VR? And I'm like, yeah, you could do that. I mean, that would be awesome on my VR headset. But then, I don't know if I want to wear my VR headset for like 4 or 5 hours. I'd be like, I mean, I love my VR, but wow. 4 or 5 hours of VR, that could be a bit much. But it could also be awesome. Who's to say? I mean, I do intend to get Star Trek Bridge Crew, and Lord knows I'll probably tuck an easy hour and a half, 2 hours at that puppy, so, anything's possible. So maybe they've got some new IP. That would be lovely. Something new to play, something new to discover. They probably even have expansions coming to Fallout, considering how wildly successful it was. And it has been a while since Fallout was released, so an expansion pack could be nice. Especially if it comes under my season pass. Right, and of course, Ubisoft. Ubisoft are always here, and just hours ago, there was a screenshot released for the new Assassin's Creed game, which reportedly is set in Egypt. And all these people going, oh, it'll be feudal Japan, and I said, nah. As admittedly though, I didn't think it was going to be Egypt either, but I also said I didn't think it was going to be Japan, so I was somewhat right, so give me that. But yeah, I'll be interested to see what they do with Egypt, because that's further back than the first Assassin's Creed game. So that's going to prove to be an interesting thing to see, how that ties in with the Templars, if at all. Then the Templars probably just used the Crusades as part of what they were up to. Could very well easily be the case that the Crusades and the Templars didn't have anything to do with each other, they just happened to use it. Which is, a very Templar thing to do. So, hey! They reckon they'll try and big up Steep a bit more, try and get people to actually buy it, because nobody did. In fact, it does okay in second-hand market, but I don't think they did enough with it. Nobody seems to talk about Wildlands anymore. They talked about it a bit when it began, so maybe they'll do some stuff with Wildlands, try and get us to be a bit more enthused about that. They'll probably chuck a couple more VR titles at us. Not sure what else can be done by Ubisoft. I reckon they'll still have Aisha Tyler being well funny. I actually like Aisha Tyler. I know she gets a lot of hate, but I like her. I think she's very amusing. What else? EA will do their usual thing. They'll come and go, sports. Shooter. Sports. And there'll be a gigantic FIFA thing. And apparently they'll be doing their sort of side public event thing again, which we'll see how side and public-y that is, considering that E3 for the first time ever is limitedly open to the public. So we'll see how that turns out. Of course, we all want to know what Microsoft is going to do. I mean, you know, they'll have all their usual stuff. They'll have like State of Decay and Sea of Thieves and, you know, Forza and Van Dust and probably even showing up Voodoo Vince. I mean, they had Big Philly doing that thing where he's showing off Voodoo Vince. Oh, look, I used to play this with the OG Xbox with my girls. Oh. And now they're at college and junk and it's brought it back and it's all HD wonderfulness. But obviously, that's all window dressing, because the real meat and potatoes of what Microsoft are going to do is showing off the Scorpio, giving it a name, seeing the box, seeing the controller, because I think there'll be changes to the controller. There has to be, you know. I think it's going to be like the Pro Controller, but not quite the Pro Controller. I reckon it's going to be a bridge in the gap of the standard controller and the Pro Controller. That's just what I think. I don't think the FRAP counter is going to be there, because that's just for fapping. Okay. I think they're really going to big up on that. But they have to show us the price. They have to show us the box, and they have to give gamers a reason to buy it, because bigger, fancier, shinier graphics, nice, but is it that serious chunk of change more nice? Because I think it's gonna be expensive. And when we're talking about a system where they are tweaking every single, you know, bit of card on each machine to fit the piece of silicon inside it, because silicon from machine to machine to machine is ever so slightly different, and they're tweaking each machine so each bit of silicon, they get the best out of it. That's expensive. And all the guts they're putting in, and the Blu-rays, the HD Blu-ray support, and you know the 1080p and all of that, and the power saving, and the cooling, and it is not going to be a cheap machine. It's going to be a quality machine. That's pretty much a given from what Digital Foundry have said. But you know, will the price warrant the purchase? Because it's got to be about the games. And a lot of Xbox gamers have said, well, why don't I just buy a PC? I can get a PC for roughly the same. I can continue to update it, you know, upgrade a little bit here, upgrade a little bit there, and within less than a year you could probably have something that will cost you not too much more in real terms, and you do more with it. And you can have whatever controller you like, you can have whatever settings you like, on whatever telly you like, you know, on your PC, and you can stream to whatever services, and you know, you can do what you like, however you like. So, you know, there's really got to be a super strong selling point. Microsoft have got a big job in their hands, it's a big ask, you know. Yes, they've got this new equipment, yes, it's going to be uber fancy, yes, it's going to be super powerful. But, you know, what are the games going to be like? How do you get us lot to buy it? It's that simple. And of course, my boys, Sony. What does, you know, Zenblock think Sony's going to do? Well, there's a number of things I think Sony have to do. I think, for one, they got to go games. I reckon they got to go Bloodborne 2. They got to go Days Gone. They've really got to hit hard with Days Gone. I think we might see a bit more Death Stranding, but they've still got to keep that air of mystery, you know. Will we see Kojima-san? I don't think so. I think to see proper Death Stranding stuff and have Kojima-san, that's for PSX. There'll obviously be Gran Turismo. There will definitely be God of War. I think we'll see a different bit of gameplay, and I think we'll actually get a release date. Now, I reckon the release date will be in the end of the year. I think we're talking like the winter games. You know, like games for Christmas, you know. So that'll be some people's Christmas present will be God of War. That's my own personal. And I think the little bit of gameplay we'll see will be probably a good bit further on the game. And I think we'll see some interplay between the boy and Kratos. So there'll be bits where you have to be the boy and get into small places and stuff and use his abilities. That's what I'm reckoning. What else? Oh, probably see some of this Knack 2. Now they're promising that Knack 2 is going to be a better game, a darker game, and we'll be interested to see that. we obviously have to see Spider-Man. I mean, you know, even if it's only a little bit of gameplay, and they talk about being a next year game, you know, but a little bit of gameplay for Spider-Man I think will go a long, long way. Uncharted, Lost Legacy, we've seen that, so I don't think I'll say anything from those guys. But those guys will definitely show us some of The Last of Us 2. I really think so. It'll be dead short. It'll be full of blood. It'll be full of action, but it'll be dead short. It'll be just enough to whet the appetite. There has to be a stronger showing from VR. They have to show us what the second wave of VR games is like, and they actually have to give us much meatier titles. Now, don't get me wrong, I love PlayStation VR. I mean, it's right over there. And it's a tasty unit, and I have never regretted buying it. Never. And I've even sold a couple of people on it. A couple of my friends have it that previously lived to get it, and they love it too. But I think there has to be a greater showing of PSVR titles, or games that also use PSVR. You know, so then people who can buy it can do whatever they like with it. They could go VR mode, or they could go non-VR mode, like Rise of the Tomb Raider, which I have, and I've yet to play because it's on my backlog. I think there's got to be a couple of new IPs that we didn't know were coming. I think Sony have got to surprise us. I think also what they need to do is free up the Vita. You know, I think they need to say, right, okay, you guys, you love your Vitas, we know this, but you know, we also know that the Vita's not too much longer for this world. So what we're doing is we're taking one Vita game out of PlayStation Plus and replacing it with one PSVR game. Now, admittedly, I've got no evidence for this, but it's a hope. And as a plus, we're slashing the price of PlayStation Vita memory cards by 50%. Because let's face it, if you buy that 64 gig PlayStation Vita memory card, it costs you more than a Vita. That's ridiculous. That's an untenable situation. So they've got to sort out their Vita problem. They've got to big up on Vita, and they got to go game after game after game after game after game. No sales data. No waffle. They've got to do like they did last year. Hit us with a show. Because last year were there and all the God of War stuff. That was amazing. You know, and it was just such a strong showing. They have to put on a show, and they have to just overload us with games. It has to be the case that, like, when the likes of Kotaku and IGN and Video Gamer and that do their post-show analysis, like I'm sure me, Wiggy and Cycle will do on State of Gaming, that we have to have so much to talk about that we just run out of time, or we end up going massively over time because there's just going to be so many games. That's what Sony need to do. They need to absolutely tsunami us with games. That's the only way they get headlines. That's the only way they get ahead of Microsoft and new piece of equipment talk. Because a new system is always a big seller. So Sony need to hit so hard with so many games, they'll literally make your brain hurt. So that's my E3 thoughts. What are yours? Write them down below. Tell me on Twitter. Tell me on PSN. Come to the Zenbloke channel and stuff. PlayStation 4 community if you like. But whatever you do, come let me know. This video will also be on VidMe, so if you want to tell me there on VidMe what you think, feel free to do so. Anyway, I'm running short on time, and this Horizon Zero Dawn footage is running out, so I'll close this video in the way that I always do. Please remember to rate, favourite, comment, share and subscribe, and of course, as always, I nae bother.